Hey, welcome to Story Comicore. You might remember me from such episodes as 1 through 5. No, 4. And a brief appearance in 5. My
I
name's
don't think
Alec.
anybody knows anymore.
Yeah, my name's Alec. I used to run this show. And then Seawood took over and showed me what a bad job I'm doing because he kicked its ass the last couple weeks. I mean, especially with the week when he was by himself and he still made it work.
He
So
somehow got a full panel too.
big shout out to Seawood for doing a great job in my absence. And now here we are at 11:40 at night.
We three.
We three, and maybe someone else is going to join in. Thanks for hanging out on this late night. We're going to do a speed round episode here because there was a bit of a scheduling snafu. It's entirely my fault.
Really, it's John's fault.
No, I can't really blame him as much as I'd
Oh,
like
man.
to.
Ever since he's got that crown, man.
It was gone to his head, bro.
Didn't get the link. All right.
John Free's reign is the struggle is real, man. Under
Yeah.
King John Free,
We are in the middle of John Free's reign, it seems.
you got to pay your taxes, bro, or he don't let you start on time.
I keep pushing for Johnny the King Lawler if we're doing the whole wrestling thing, but he's too much of a Game of Thrones freak to
Yeah,
listen to me.
that is the move, huh?
So should we make wrestling jokes or should we talk about why? This is a legitimate question. I'm not being...
Jason didn't get the link.
Yeah, I resent it to him.
Should we talk about why? Well, these are the best issues of this second double trade.
Yeah, I mean, I said right before we started that, if we only get through one issue tonight, then that's cool. We're not in a schedule in this show. It's all about enjoying the journey, right?
That's right.
That's right.
Before we start, it is customary to shout out the chat. I don't want to neglect that just because we're running late. And there's a lot of great people here, so I want to give them the respect they deserve. Caleb was first in the chat, even though he's on the panel. He's still on the ball. Comics Explained, Jeff Comic 813, Chris Barrett, Robert the Comic G Spot Galvin, Joe 47771, Melody aka Biggie Shack strapping up, DS Comics,
Biggie.
TJ the Slab Dragon, always here, always appreciated. Yeah, so we got a nice little crew, and there's King John just making trouble. And who dat? All right, let's dive in. So
Does John say he's a birthday cake?
I missed the safe word issues.
Yeah, you didn't say for it, man.
So that's a bummer.
Yeah.
If you say so.
Do you have a quick 2-minute thoughts on that whole sequence, those couple issues, or?
Yeah, it looked like fun.
I was gonna say, did you want to be Yorick?
No comment. I like how he was just like, okay, yeah, I'll bang you. And then she's like, no, I don't.
I'm good. I'll pass.
I did actually want to highlight this section here where
After she gave him the pill, by the way, which that's a dirty move.
And another really like old of the time reference where he says it's a Bob Dole move. Which
the guy from Price is Right.
No, Bob Dole ran for president, and after he lost, he started doing ads for Viagra.
One of those Bobs.
He did? Bob Dole did Viagra commercials?
Yep. So that's that reference that's lost in time because
I didn't know that one.
Yeah, no one got it except for me because I'm a million years old. This section here where he's doing the flashback about when he was stuck in the apartment and everything that transpired right after the plague hit and how he went outside for the first time. I thought it was super interesting that instead of doing it in narration boxes, they do it in word bubbles. Like he's telling the story in the time that he's in with the 7-Eleven. But it's, the visuals are of the time in the past. I thought that was cool. That's all.
Did Bob
then-
Dole own the banana
And then
Farm?
mystery. You're
like
thinking of
fruit company?
Oh,
Those issues had some of the most creative like panel layouts and narration. Yeah, like on the using the tissue box as a narration tool, and like
That was just a whole funny line right there on the tissue box too. That was just
Yeah.
funny.
the different color palette throughout the scenarios. Like it's just masterful shit, man. In those issues, for real.
Misexplained said he still hasn't gotten the link. That's weird. I mean, I don't know. We got 15 minutes. Should we mess around trying to get him a link?
You're the keeper of the button.
I also really like the end where, after all the suicide intervention, hey, there he is. He made it.
Hey, what's up?
What up?
After all the suicide intervention that she did for Yorick, she did exactly what she was saying that he was doing, because she says thanks after she gets killed, which I thought was poetic in a way. Anyway, that's my recap. Sex, drugs, and rock and roll, man.
Sex, drugs, and rock and roll, huh?
Yeah, sex, drugs, and monkeys.
Monkeys, but not together.
So we start the next issue
Kill, bro.
in Queensbrook, Arizona, with this young girl in a white dress and this woman in some military gear. And can I just point out, like, this is a wacky drawing, man. That lady looks weird.
Yeah, she looks like a Joker smile lady.
Yeah.
She just got gassed by that scarecrow medicine or whatever.
Like, I really like the art in this book, but that one was a miss. So she's taking this oath of seemingly, you're guessing, to America, because she's being handed the flag. But then, she burns it because she's for her state above all else. And I feel like this was like well before like the whole states' rights versus federal rights argument.
And Jeff, just so you know, we're on book 4, which we're probably at like around issue 20 right now.
This is issue 20 or 21.
Should be 20. Something.
That's where we're at, Jeff.
Okay.
We're 14 miles east.
We're this cover. So that's going to be trouble, obviously, because how could they avoid it, right?
That's right.
So, I mean, after the incredibly intense safe word issues, did this do enough for you guys to say, like, okay, I'm still invested in this? Or is it just like, okay, this is more of the same of like, here's a problem, how do they get around it?
I was definitely totally interested. I mean, there's nothing that doesn't interest me about this book. I've never been bored, yet. I think the
I would
slowest I got
say
to
even
being
more
bored was, like, that
interested after
drama
safe
part.
word.
Yeah. Like you're back on track,
Yeah.
kind of like the main story, the main goal.
I think I kind of see what you may be getting at there. Of like, I like the rest of these issues here. This little sequence was cool. The next couple issues, but there is a kind of a repetitive theme that happens of Yorick and the gang meet up with a new person in a new town, and when they meet up with them, they get rolled up on by their pursuers. And that does tend to cyclically happen throughout the book.
But that's the classic story of a quest, though. It's a quest is where you're trying to get somewhere, achieve something, and you've got tribulations and trials along the way.
Yeah, I mean, it's the Odyssey, right? I mean, not literally, but it's the same thing where he gets to an island, he needs to do something, or like, he's got something to overcome. But I'm not necessarily like agreeing with my question or like fishing for an answer. I just think that safe word was such a stark departure, and such an interesting character piece as far as establishing, a deeper level of Yorick than just like the snarky, like wisecracking, like dumb fool who throws himself into these situations. And then we're just back to kind of where we were. That was, I guess, my only question, really, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely see his attitude change because of safe word. He's more safe.
Yeah.
He's no longer
He's a
putting
little more
himself in
cautious,
danger. Yeah.
And in fact, the first time we see him on the next page, he's back in the cloak and the gas mask to hide himself instead of just flaunting his facial hair.
And also on the safe word thing, I think it definitely emphasized on what a crap hand the world was dealt with the last man and how broken he actually is,
Yeah, but I think a lot about that. Like, if I were the last man, like, I think that would be worse off than Yorick. I think Yorick's doing all right. At least he's
I'd probably still be in my house. I wouldn't have made it out yet.
At least Yorick has a monkey. So then we get some more like funny little, relationship building stuff where Yorick's asking about people's favorite smells. And then we get like another wacky drawn face.
Which one?
Right there. Yorick is like boing, 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 boing.
Oh.
What's going on there? When 355 says mimeographs, which is something a million years old. I don't know.
I don't know what it is, to be honest.
And then now this has to be a different artist. This isn't Piaguera, right? Because this looks totally different.
They definitely, there's a lot of expressions. I guess I would prefer like over expressive or even a little deranged expression, like kind of in that one, than under expressing. Because there's a lot of comics that can sometimes do that, where it's like if the characters look bored in the book, it's gonna transfer over to me. So I'm big on facial expressions in artwork. So this book is chock full of that. So I always appreciate that.
Chris Barrett, I appreciate your honesty. If I were the last man, I would be trying to bone anything that moves. I mean, he's not pulling any punches there. So then the old doctor, the old doctor is very upset because she realizes that the pygmy shrew just became extinct because of their lifespan and how long it's been since all the males got wiped out. And then she said the opossums are going to be next. And like, that's another really, we keep talking about these interesting little layers to the impact this has, and not just like, oh, well, human men are dead, so, that isn't that important, but like how is actually affecting the world on a bigger scale, and how, the food chains are getting interrupted, and how species are going extinct. And I don't know. I thought that was an interesting little layer of thought that Brian K. Vaughan had.
Yeah, I appreciated that too.
If they don't solve that problem of no more Y chromosomes, I mean, the world is over in a matter of within 100 years. So it's pretty dire.
Pollinated. And then once again, he goes and drops the R word for, I don't know, the umpteenth time.
This goes to show how important this is. Am I right, guys? Sorry.
Can't get away from it. So they find this pack of dogs that have bones in their mouths, but they look, pretty sheepish.
Oh yeah, they scrawny.
They're kind of growling though, I don't know.
And 355, Yorick tries to make friends.
Don't be scared, little dog.
And 355 shoots a gun in the air to scare them off, and she's like, "Those are human bones," and so therefore they must be man eaters. But then they come across a road crew that has been there for a minute,
left to right,
and which upsets Yorick quite a bit. Not because they're dead, but because he says that, how many people have driven by this scene and not done anything and not given them a proper burial. and which, much like the woman in the Taco Bell who I ran into the other night, who was very upset at how hot it was and saying it wasn't a safe environment for the people to work, and how she was uncomfortable for the workers to be working in the environment because it was too warm, and then proceeded to order tacos. York, I'm sure, would not have taken the time. Like this group was just another group that's going to pass them by. Like they don't have to stop and
absolutely.
So look in the mirror, York Brown.
Yeah, it's easy to point out injustices. There's a lot of people's favorite pastime, actually.
I was gonna say he probably was just bored walking with them too, and was like, "Man, I'm gonna start bitching about something."
And 355 says it very eloquently: when 3 billion people die in one day.
Yeah.
And then up comes one of the coolest characters we've been introduced to so far, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I like her a lot.
This random bald lady holding a shotgun, which 355 does not take kindly to. And she, I don't exactly know what she does here. She hits her in the chest, maybe?
She chest punches her with her shotgun while she snatches the other girl's shotgun out of her hand. So she stops her and disarms her all in one quick motion. 355 is a beast, yo.
Yeah.
Don't sleep on her, man. She is
the strike itself looks awkward though.
Yeah.
And then she's on the ground with her foot on her chest, right underneath it. Dude. She's like Michonne in the making.
Michonne before Michonne was Michonne. And then she asks, what does she want? And this mystery woman says, what the hell? I was trying to save your life. And then this is the first time we see this New York, where Dr. Mann says, isn't this the part where you do something stupid? And he says, that was the old York, New York, avoid violent femmes, which is a band, which I would avoid too.
You don't like that single?
I mean, it's
that's the only song I know by them. But
yeah, it's the only song anybody knows by them. And then 355 continues to interrogate this young woman, saying, you came at us with a weapon. And she says, came at you. I was out hunting dinner, heard a shot, and I came running. So, I mean, obviously the paranoia level is still high in this group. And this is showing 355's dedication to protecting them, I guess. I mean, although
intentions are definitely still running high because, dude, they're rocking Studebakers right now. They don't have a car. They don't have a vehicle. They're straight huffing it foot.
And then we get the first reference to this local militia. And she said they booby trap corpses for Good Samaritans, get their hands blown off. 355 calls her a skinhead. And she says, hey, this is practical, not political. In case you haven't noticed, long locks and desert heat don't go together. Which I would argue a bit, because bald heads and sunburns also don't go together.
Yeah, exactly. You'd be covered up in rags instead.
Yeah. But she said, and now that the less fair sex has passed on, hair is pretty much, and she's about to say, I assume that, it's we only had long, pretty hair to impress men. It's basically what she's saying. And then she immediately recognizes York as being a guy through the gas mask.
Yeah, I thought that was weird.
Well, I think I'm surprised more people don't. It's like the Superman syndrome. It's why don't more people recognize Clark Kent as Superman or Batman as Bruce Wayne? You can see half of his face.
But at the same time, the cross-dressing lady of the night was like, hey, you need to tie down those tits and work on your fake mustache,
But see, this chick, she's smart and very attentive.
Thus far, I feel like they painted him as
kind of a feminine
built man.
Yeah. But I have not the manliest of hands. They're not huge meat paws, but I still feel like Like
They're still larger than a woman's hands.
right, and that's one of the things she points out. She's like, those are man's hands. Maybe not like, you know, I can't palm a comic like some people, but
Yeah, fair.
and
enough.
she also says this is the worst chick voice I've ever heard. And you look at your hands, they're totally a dude. And then 355 quickly tries to cover it up by saying my companion has a hormone condition that makes her sound like. But then Dr. Mann is like, oh, what difference does it make? Yeah, it's a dude. Which seems like at the moment totally out of character for her, right? But we find out later why she's acting this way.
And they speak gibberish.
They speak gibberish. Faster than anyone has ever been able to do it, according to the mystery woman.
And they told York it was Chinese.
And he believed them because he's a dope, which
That's
caused him to rip his gas mask off. And then the bald woman's like, you are a man. I didn't really believe it. And then he's like, oh, whoops, my bad.
And because 355 said fucking hell, like then I was able to read gibberish after that. So I went back and then read
And
all
And
the
figured it
gibberish.
out. Heck yeah.
Yeah.
And then Dr. Mann with the like sick burn said, yes, York is in the loosest sense of the word a man. Like unnecessary, Dr. Mann.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know you're cranky about what we're going to find out in a couple issues, but geez. And then this young lady invites them to her garage and says, Jesus, am I dreaming? And York says, lady, David Lynch's dreams weren't this weird. And then we get a little, I got to show them all, the little ampersand moment where he's like, I don't know, says, Ferk ad. I love how they're always coming up with like new ways for him to say stuff. So we get to PJ's gas station, and we hear some more about the this Sons of Arizona, the militia that's blocking the road, and 355 brings up Timothy McVeigh, which is another very dated thing. Like obviously, I think a lot of people remember Oklahoma City, but they don't remember everything else that went around that.
No more buying fertilizer in large quantities.
Yeah. So yeah, he was involved in a group that I won't get into it. We don't have time. Anyway, they find out there's only 8 people that are holding up, and 355 is like, well, what the hell? Let's just go kick their asses. And she's like, no, like a bunch of Texas Rangers went in, they all got killed, and blah blah blah. And so they're like, well, what else can we do? They say, like, they start talking about alternate routes and going up and down higher roads, going through Mexico and all this stuff. And but Dr. Mann is the one who starts freaking out and saying we can't waste any more time, which again is very out of character for her. So
yeah, she's just acting all off kill.
I think, I mean, I know by now, 20 issues in, that Brian K. Vaughan is a good enough writer of this story that he wouldn't make a character this out of character if it weren't for a reason, right? So like,
he's building something.
Like
yeah,
you knew at this point that something, yes, it is a Ruby Ridge reference, Chris Barrett. Something's going on with Dr. Mann, so it's some good kind of foreshadowing. And then 355 says, I'll come back and deal with this after I get you safely there. But like, we can't risk this. And then Dr. Mann lets it slip that her clone was her daughter, not a boy.
Dun, dun.
Oops. And then Dr. Mann says, what am I being interrogated now? Is a slip of the tongue. That's not a slip of the tongue. You're not fooling me. Like, you don't say daughter when you meant son. Like, you might say, like, I know my parents used to be like calling when they're getting mad at a kid, they're just like start shouting names of kids until I get the right one.
My mom used to
get
do
that a
that, and she'd say the dog's name before mine. Like all of them, all of my brothers and sisters, and then the dog, and then she'd like, God, Jason.
One of you,
Yeah,
dang
dude.
it.
That happened to me the other day, because my dad a lot of times will call me by my nephew's name, and a couple weeks ago he goes, Colin, Ginger. He called me Ginger's his cat. He goes, Ginger. I was like, dude, you just call me Ginger.
Are you
Get it
serious
together,
right
man.
now?
But at least that's like a regular name. Like when I was a kid, she'd call me Chappie. I was like, "Well, you fucking kidding?"
Yo,
Like,
Frank,
Chappie.
clean your room.
Do I look like a chappie to
I
you?
look like a Yorkshire Terrier to you.
Dr. Man then storms off, and we get this funny little moment with what's her name, PJ, JP, PJ.
PJ's garage. I don't know.
Yeah.
If, that might be her dad's name though.
I
PJ
think-
is what I.
I think they call her that at some point. Anyway, let's call her PJ for now. Pajamas says, POS much? And Yorick's like, I didn't say it. It wasn't me this time. I'm done saying dumb stuff, like just assuming that everyone's going to think it was him. And then
York and
355,
his crazy dreams.
355 has like a half-assed apology, and PJ's just like, yeah, cool, man. Come stay in my garage. Like, she's the most accommodating, like, coolest. She said, like my old man used to say, everything looks better after a good night's sleep. And then we get, Yorick's weird dream where he's some sort of
Viking warrior.
Viking warrior fighting to save Beth, who's tied up by this monster who straight like eviscerates her.
A stinking abominable snowman or whatever.
So he fails miserably.
Yeah, absolutely.
I dig those warrior skeletons though. Those are tight.
Yeah, it's pretty metal. It's like something right off of like a Molly Hatchet cover.
Yeah.
He gets woken up by 355 busting into his room, asking if Dr. Mann is with him. And then Yorick's like, no, why would she be with me, basically? And then find out she's missing. And then we get PJ looking foxy in her
Looking fierce.
very low cut bathrobe.
Mm-hmm.
And something coming up in an issue that I appreciate about an interaction between her and Yorick. Spoilers. Not what you think. And then Yorick's like, oh, she's probably just out getting some air. Like, she couldn't have gotten far. And then we find out that she is at the militia saying that she wants to make a deal.
She's come to bargain.
Come to barter. And that is the end of that issue, which brings us to this issue with another great ampersand cover that we'll have to.
And also, yet again, Brian K. Vaughan sticks the landing on yet another issue with a great cliffhanger moment. Like,
Yeah, man.
this book does that over and over
Cliffhangers.
again, man.
It
Awesome.
makes you want to pick up the next one. That's definitely for sure, or turn the page of the next issue of the trade, because it's never, the issues never go out with a whimper. They always go out with a bang.
Yeah, it makes it like the series so much more easily readable. Like, it's not so much like as a task to like read comic books as it is enjoyable, but sometimes you're like, wow, I got a lot of stuff I want to read, and but whenever I read Why the Last Man, I'm like, all right, well, let me go and read like pretty much a whole trade, because I know I'm gonna get sucked in and read the whole entire thing.
You got to do it in one
You
sitting.
can't just do one issue, man. Like each time I go to it, I'm like, all right, well, let's get into it. I'm like, this is awesome. I like have immediately a great time and like remember all the characters and stuff, and it's like, well, can't stop reading.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the thing for me is that they never feel like especially forced or shoehorned in. Like if that were in the middle of an issue, like you wouldn't really blink an eye at it. It just happens to be at the end.
Exactly.
You agree with that?
Very true.
I mean, obviously, it's very intentionally designed to be at the end of an issue, but it's not. It's not like, oh, I need to figure out a cliffhanger for the end of this issue. It
Right.
always feels like natural in the progression of the story.
And like you said, he was building up to it. Like he knew that was the way he was going to end that book by the way he was portraying Dr. Mann throughout that issue.
Right. And we find out more about that next time on Story Comic Core.
Just one issue today, eh?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
it's already 12:10, and
I'm about to have to hop off of here.
All right.
East Coasters got to go to bed.
That's cool.
But hey, we're on no schedule. We're chatting.
Yeah.
Why? I never introduced my compatriots today. I'm sorry. I was in such a rush to get started. We've got Caleb the Comic Smurf Murphy. What's up?
Hanging out, man, kicking it like a fat rat in a cheese factory. You guys know what's up.
We got Kenny the Comic Head, Macho Head 84.
Welcome to the show, guys. Hope you enjoy.
This is like Memento, the episode. And we got the one and only, I'm going to call you from now on CM Punk as your wrestling persona. Comics Misexplained.
Oh yeah, okay, that works.
CM Punk,
Dropping that pipe bomb.
I'll
With
take
the-
that.
Representing the sweet Witchfinder General t-shirt.
Yeah, man. It's Memorial Day. I don't have any really USA centric stuff, but I was like, hey, he's a general.
Count it.
So, yep. Vincent Price, Bo.
Jeff Comic said, I am away at work. I'll watch you guys in the rewind. You'll have to watch this episode rewinded because we started it at the end. Yeah, and he's also straight edge. That's true. And he's got a Pepsi logo tattooed on his shoulder. So anyway, you guys want to plug anything real quick before we leave?
I don't have anything necessarily coming up, but I am going to start putting out more content on a regular basis.
Nice.
So keep an eye out.
Look forward to that.
Graders Notes, Thursday on MetaRog's channel, but I'll be there. And
That is an awesome show, by the way, Kenny. Y'all do a great job on that show.
It was a good one.
Thanks,
I enjoy it.
We're doing this one.
Yeah,
Oh,
buddy.
nice.
Oh, yeah.
I just reread it today.
Nice.
It's awesome.
Spoilers.
Yes.
But what are the exact grades going to be? That's what you tune in for.
Yeah.
So it's not about if it's good or bad. It's the minutia of how good or bad it is.
Indeed.
The minutia.
Yeah, that is the fun of it. And keep an eye out for that. And Friday, if you like to see Comic Head and Biggie Shack connection and wrestling impersonations and all that madness, Mega Power Hour, Friday night. Guest TBD, but whoever dares enter into the ring with us, brother, will be sure to have a good time. That's all I got going on.
What do you got, CM Punk?
I got Comic Con Unlimited on Wednesdays.
Okay.
And then recently I got the Criminal Big Ass Volume 1. Finally found one. Finally found one. Yeah, and then had to get 2 because it came with number 1. And then I got these ones too.
Yeah, those books were great.
Damn.
Excited to find those.
Love those
Yeah.
covers.
So I'm going to go criminal crazy sometime soon. So I don't know. I'm not sure if I'm going to do any videos on it or anything, but
But you're going to read them, enjoy them.
I'm going to read them and enjoy them, bro.
Yeah, that's what this is really about. And if you want to make a video about it, that's just added bonus. I got
Nice.
That man,
$1
that man, Chad 90. I think that boy's yellow. He didn't want to get on screen tonight and hang out with his boys because he's scared. The Dollar Bin Bandolero's coming for that belt, son. I ain't even got my guns out tonight. I'm going to keep them holstered because I don't think I need them against you. I'm calling you out. Comic Cat 84 is also going to be on Dollar Bin Dive-In coming soon. We haven't decided when, but it's coming.
Ooh.
Bandolero out.
That's awesome. It's high midnight.
I got Old Comic Book Day Book Club episode 2 with John and Reggie Simmons this week. We're doing Hulk 181. Facsimile edition came out, so we figured that was something that people could easily read. And then next Friday, I am going to be in the Fatal 5-Way casket match on the Hunt once again, since there was a controversial ending.
That was awesome. That was hilarious. I was so happy. I was bartending, and I was so glad I got to catch that stuff.
There were chair shots. There was
Hashtag counterpoint.
the ref got knocked out at one point. I rolled out of the ring. I did a lap. Underwhaler was born.
The
Underwhaler.
Underwhaler was born, dude. That was so awesome.
I am guaranteeing a victory next Friday for the
Very
Underwhaler.
fun show.
Awesome.
Awesome.
So I'll let you all go. Thanks for joining us. And we'll catch you next week, and hopefully at a regular time with a more regular amount of issues that we can talk about. But it was a good time. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Thanks for letting me join.
Oh, anytime, man. All right.
ya.
Have a great night, everyone. Bye.